Hello, YouTube. It's good to be back. Well, it's been a pretty busy and rough week for me, so I haven't been able to get a video out there for you. I think this is going to be the only video which I'll be making this week on the course. It might be a lengthy one because I want to cover building the Kali Linux attack box as well as securing it, then creating a secure access to maybe everything on the infrastructure at the moment. Okay, so if you just tuning in, we're recording video for AWS Pentesting course. We've got about 3 videos out there. Cool stuff. You go check it out. This is a continuation, so if you're just watching this, you might not get ahead of what we're doing, but if you're smart, I'm sure you figure it out. So today we'll be setting up a Kali Linux in the cloud. We'll secure connection to the Kali Linux, maybe using the fail to ban uncomplicated firewall. Then we will set up SSH access and RDP access. Then, most importantly, we'll get the Guacamole working for us, which will help us proxy our connection to our infrastructure. All right, so enough for this chitty chatty. Let's get into business. I'm just going to go into my logged in. You see, we already have the Ubuntu, I think this is it, and the Windows running. So if you have not been following, go check out the videos. We're going to start by going to Marketplace and creating the Kali links. You just need to go into Marketplace, then search for Kali. If you search for Kali, you see Kali, follow the process. I want to skip all that part. Just click. It gets you somewhere here. Then you can. Okay, let me just show that. All right, search for Kali. Not to speed up things. Then you should have this loaded. Marketplace, you will see several options. I'm actually doing this so you don't end up clicking on the one that will cost you money. Okay, my internet is laughing at me now, I'm sure. So you get all these options. We're going to go for the first one, Kali Linux, not something being managed by anybody. Then it's just going to load up a few cool stuff. Be sure you have it in the region which you're working with from the start. For us, it's not the journey. Then we're just going to click to continue. We already have a subscription, but I'm just going to show you. Click to subscribe. If you click to subscribe, we have a subscription, so all that process is not going to go through, I guess. Confirm configuration. Then you wait for it to load. If the internet is happy, you get it pretty fast. Then here we'll configure this thing. We'll stick with this. Then you've got two options, either the later or the earlier recent. I'll go for the most recent because of the patches and all those fixes for bugs. Verify your region again, then continue to launch this instance. So at this point, you'll be prompted to either just follow what I'm doing, launch from website pretty much. I'm okay with this T2 medium because I've got 4 GB, 2 cores and all this stuff. Ensure you're using the VPC. If you have that VPC, verifies what you're using. Then subnet, most importantly for us, we've been going with US East 1C. So we're just going to select that. Security group, currently I won't put this in my default security group. I think I'll create based on the seller. And I see they only allow an SSH connection. I'm pretty much okay with that. So I'm just going to give this a name, Kali Secure. Secure Kali Linux. Okay. I'm just going to allow from anywhere, but you can model this to suit your. If you want to go for maybe your IP, you can point this. Specifically, it's going to just choose your IP. If you want to go for maybe a custom IP, you can specify that here, but we're going to go from anywhere because we'll restrict things a bit. And I think this is pretty much fine. We'll save this. Then the key to connect, I will be using my key. Very important. You should use yours, okay? So all things look okay. We can launch this stuff and get it loaded for us. Okay, congratulations. Over to the instance page, we can refresh our page. We'll find it right there. Okay, so we can see our Kali Linux is running, which is this. I didn't give it a name, but you can just do this if you wish. I'll just call it Kali just so I'm able to know what that is. And maybe name the other. I don't like to name my instance for security reasons, probably. So I'm just going to leave this Kali. Then right click here, connect. You will have options, but I'm going to go with SSH client. So I'm going to copy this to connect to it. Now on your local server, on your local box, you must have that key pair here to be able to use keys. So I'm going to paste this in here, and by default root login is disabled, so I'll have to log in as Kali. That's actually a security layer, pretty smooth stuff. I'll just authenticate here as well. Let me just see. Okay, refuse. I guess it's still trying to build that stuff. Now it should work. Yes, select fingerprints. Then you should have your access into your Kali server, like I have done here. Okay, great. So I'm in the Kali box. If I do the ID, if I do the uname, tag A, just to show you, it's actually Kali. Okay, great. Now we can apt update. I won't be upgrading here because it's going to take some time. Oh, sorry, sudo apt update. I'm updating because I will be installing a few stuffs which I would want to use. Okay, great. I'm running the sudo command because I'm not root, so to upgrade, you need to have that privilege to be able to do that. Okay, then one thing which we're going to do here quickly, we will change the passwords both for the Kali Linux user, for the Kali user, and the root user. Security, remember. So sudo password. For the first one, I will be doing this for the root account. Make sure you put your password, very secure one. Okay, then the second one I'll be doing for the Kali user. So the same command, sudo password, but this time Kali. Put your secure password. Make sure you use a different password, very important. Okay, great. Now I've got the password security thing off the hook. Next thing I would like to do is to install a firewall that will help me manage connections to this server. But before I do that, I'll quickly change something. I'll go into the maybe .ssh. I think I should have it in here. Great. Then oh no, I'll just go into the etc SSH. Let me do some management right in here. Okay, great. The first one I'm going to be changing, I'll make some changes in the SSH config file. Then I'll do the same in the maybe config.d. Okay, great. So let's start with this. If I cut the content of SSH underscore config, you will see what it currently is. At the moment, password authentication is not enabled. I want to do that because I'll be using Guacamole to connect to this, but I will be setting some restrictions, very critical. So I will change the settings. Then also, let me see, I think permit, okay, that should be the only settings which I'm going to change in here. So I'm going to nano into that file as sudo. Remember, I have to manage that file as sudo. So I'll do sudo nano, then I'll get in that file. Quickly go to that line where I have to allow password authentication. I passed it, my bad. Okay, so you just need to uncomment it by removing the pound sign there. Then you're good to go. So quickly you want to write this, save this, Ctrl S, then Ctrl O and Ctrl X. So that's the first one. The second one, want to this SSH config, SSHD config. So let's sudo nano SSHD config. In this case, I will have to make the same changes. I would have to allow password authentication. So under authentication, see, I'm not permitting root login, very important. So the user must log in as a normal user, then elevate privilege if they have rights to do that, which is one of the best things you want to do for security purpose. I'm just going to allow password authentication. So I'm looking for that, my bad. So you can see password authentication is currently no. So I'm going to change this to yes, so that I can authenticate with password. Now permit enter password definitely should be no. So Ctrl O, write this, and Ctrl X. At this point, we're good to go. We'll install the firewall, sudo apt install ufw, then fail to ban. Uncomplicated firewall. I'm just going to get that thing installed pretty quick. Then we will, after installation, we'll just set up maybe 2 roles and force only SSH connection. I think I'm pretty much okay with only SSH connection at this point, because I don't want anything else to access this server, only via SSH, which I will be doing. I might allow RDP, because I will be doing that via the I will allow RDP, be doing that via the Guacamole stuff. So let's get this bad boy pretty much cool. Then let's allow. So sudo, we will do the UFW, uncomplicated firewall, allow port 22, pretty easy. The first rule which we're writing into that file. The second rule will allow 3389 RDP. Then I think it's pretty much okay, just these 2 for the standard. Then I'm going to enforce the rule. Sudo service, I'm going to restart the service, UFW restarts, just to enforce the rule. So I think I have pretty much, I should start it. Okay, so I should start it, great. So I think it started, and if we check the status, we'll see it's running. Okay, so pretty much that's the first phase of this recording. Just to show you the status, we can see, you can use the command sudo service UFW status. You can see definitely it's running at the moment. Okay, so we've got a firewall which will prevent every other connection and only allow connection to port 22 and port 3389. Next, let's go get Guacamole. Now for Guacamole, there are 3 or 4 different options we can use to do this. One, we can pull this down from the I'm going to close this. We can pull this down from the legitimate Apache page, but for this option we will need some key signing, PGP stuff. We'll need maybe a developer to help us verify a key before we can actually run that stuff. I'm not going to be doing that. Then second option, we've got this GitHub repo. No, we can mirror from this server. Mirroring from this server, all you need to do is maybe go into source. I will leave this link. I think if you want to use this, then maybe right click on the server, copy the link, then go into your Kali box, clear this. You should have wget by default. Wget, paste it there. It's just going to grab that stuff and save it in the current directory. Maybe I should show you how that stuff works. Okay, great. You can see I will have it in here. I shouldn't be writing anything in here. Okay, cannot write. That's pretty cool. Okay, so if I maybe go into my home directory, okay, great. I should be able to write here. Now I can run that command here just to show you if you want to use this option. Wget, it's going to, okay, damn. All right, sudo wget, paste this here. Okay, great. So it's downloading the stuff. Now you can download this one. Then you fall a step back, then inside the binary folder you download the compiled clients, but I'm not going to be using this option anyways. So just want to show you this stuff. I'm going to quickly remove that stuff. I'm not using that option. Now the third option, sorry, there is this GitHub repo which I found. Pretty cool stuff. They've got automation happening here, so you can clone this repo. Then they have a script which you're just going to run, and it's going to build everything for you and get it running. So you can use wget to grab the scripts. Let's showcase this one as well. Like I told you, this video might be a bit long, so we will sudo paste this thing here. It's going to copy the file, the scripts. Now if I nano into that script, I just want to show you stuff. You see it's got automation happening here. It's going to grab a few stuff, dependencies, then also create the correct paths, create the SQL server thing, and force you to create a username and all the database build and everything. This should be my default option to work with, but I'm going to leak out a secret to you. I tried this thing on Ubuntu. It worked perfectly smooth. But I tried this thing on Kali Linux and it gave me lots of headache, so it didn't work in Kali. I tried to see if I could probably do a bit of digging. I did some digging research and all this stuff. It still didn't work. It was crashing. And I guess based on comments on the internet, which I found also a lot of people struggling using Kali, Ubuntu worked perfectly. In fact, I have it on my Ubuntu box just to show you. It should be on my, give me a second. I'm going to go to my IP, 192.168.103. I think, is that it? Let me see. No, that's not a server. That's not a server. Sorry, I'm going to shut that thing down quickly. So I've got it on my Ubuntu box. I'm just not sure which of the particular port it's listening on. Okay, so just to make you understand, this option works perfectly on Ubuntu. But why I'm not using it, because we want to simplify things. We already have a Kali Linux box in there, and we just want something that will help us manage every bit of assets we have in our infrastructure. That brings me to the fourth option. The fourth option, right here in Marketplace, I'm just going to search for Guacamole. We have options, and remember I warned you from the start, at some point you might incur certain charges, but for this example which I'm using, I think the first 5 days I've got it free, so I'm not going to be paying. But even after the first 5 days, the payment is pretty much nothing. So if you want to learn, sometimes you need to spend money, so don't go ranting on me that why am I not trying to get this thing working Kali Linux. I'm not going to do that. So the Bastion Host is what I'll be using. Now it's got a free trial for 5 days. So if I click on this option here, it is managed. But since I have a free 5 days trial, you can read this up. You see what I'm talking about there. I'm going to work with this. Now, if I click on this, we can see the charge per hour. For me, it's pretty much basic, nothing. So over here, I'm going to select my default region, which is Virgin. I hope I pronounced that well. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm just going to continue to subscribe. Wait for that thing to load. Then this is the option which we'll be working with for this course. Accept the terms. So it's going to verify the license thing, and once we're good to go, we'll continue. Okay, at this point we have that working. It's still pending. We'll just wait for it to finish. Okay, so we can see right there we've got this thing done and all looks cool. Now we can click on continue to confirm this, and we'll just set up the environment to mimic what we have in our environment. So we're pretty much comfortable with the current AMI. The version, I think I'm pretty much comfortable with that one as well, 2.8.1. Okay, that's okay. Then maybe the region, I think I'm okay with my default region as well. Everything here looks okay. I'm just going to continue to this, to launch this, then set up the VPC and a few other stuff which are really important. Okay, so choose action, launch from websites. I'm fine with the M5N large. That's a little bit too much. Do I need all that? Ask me, I don't think I do. So T3 large should be fine by me. Let me see, that's also a little bit too much, 8 gigabytes. No, T2 medium, 4 gigabytes, okay, 2 virtual cores. That's okay, fine. VPC, my default, subnets, I'm going to go for the one which we've been working with. Then security group, I think I'm going to just create one based on the provider. So you can see these 3 ports will be allowed. I will call this, what should we call this? Let's call this Guacamole. Allow connections. Okay, then we'll save this. The key pair is my key, but we'll be using that. I don't know, maybe we want to SSH into it probably. Then we'll launch this. Once that is launched, we will go back to our page. We'll fall back to EC2, then we'll refresh this page. We should find that thing over there. If I go to instances, excuse me, right here at instances, we can see it's loading. So wait for it to boot correctly, then we will access it and start making certain configurations to get it a bit working for us. Then also we'll be allowing it to enable us connect to our Kali Linux, which is one of the first thing. Then subsequently, we'll also allow it to enable us connect to all the hosts we have in our infrastructure, which is the whole essence of me using this cloud-based solution here. Now, if you love for me to do this on DigitalOcean, please, if you leave a comment or maybe just a request, I'll be glad to do this on DigitalOcean, and it works perfectly the same or pretty much easy as well. Okay, so let's try to access the resource from using the IP address. Now 126, I'm just going to take that IP address and put it in one of this place here. 100.26. A quick verification, 5862. Okay, 58.62. On port 80, we should be able to access it. You can use port 443 as well. Accept risk and continue. So we will be greeted with the Guacamole page. Now we are not sure what the credentials are, but I think the default username should be Guacamole. So let's go extract those credentials over here on the instance. Let's just give this a name as well for you guys' sake. So Guacamole. Save this, that will be the name. Run this launch page here, usage instruction. You see they say access the application from a browser, HTTPS. Good. Default user is guac admin. The default password is instance ID. So I'm not going to be showing you my instance ID, or probably I can, because I'm going to just kill this thing once I'm done. So but if you go to your instance page, you will see right there the instance ID. I think I won't be sure. Okay, anyways, over here, because I'm going to change the password. So the default password is this instance ID. So copy this ID, then go to the page here, guac admin username, then paste the password over there. You should be able to log into this stuff. So once you're logged in, as usual, do not save that. The first thing you want to do is go change that password. So go over settings, then go over users. We'll see the guac admin user here. So I want to change the password of this user. So that should be username, password, re-enter password. I think I'm going to go back to change the password. I should find that in preference because I'm logged in as that user. Current password, paste it there, then a new password. You want a secure password. So once that is done, update the password. Now I have changed my password. So if I log out here just to verify that and re-log in as the user, guac admin, that's the default username, the password has been changed. If I paste the old password, see, I cannot log in with it anymore. So I have to use the new password, which is now the accepted password to log in. Okay, so I've got my logged in going on for me. So the next thing we want to do is we want to connect this Kali Linux server to that stuff. So let's go look for the IP address of Kali, which is this. I'm going to try and highlight this thing and copy this. Okay, because I want to connect that in my Guacamole. So go over to Guacamole, then go over to settings. Go over to connections. We'll be creating a new connection. So let's click on new. We're going to give this a name, call it Kali. The first one which we'll do will be SSH. So let's do SSH. The only thing I'm going to be changing here anyways, I won't set any proxy for now, but once I'm done with this, I'll get it to be secure according to my security policy. Host name will be the IP address of the Kali Linux. The port is 22. Then you can use public key, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to give it the default name, which is Kali. Remember, I cannot log in with roots like I told you. Then the password, which I had created for the Kali Linux account in the first phase. So that's it. I think every other thing for me pretty much okay. You can read through this and maybe tune this to what you would love to have your environment look like. Now you can save this stuff. So once it's saved, don't set this password. Thank you. Go back to your home. Then you can see Kali over here. Click on it. You should be able to connect to the Kali server. If it doesn't connect, probably you wait for it or you keep retrying. If all things have been done pretty fine, you should be able to connect. But let's go verify why we cannot connect yet to this Kali Linux server. Okay, we'll find out why. Okay, so the silly mistake I made was that I forgot to restart after making those changes in the config file, I did not restart it. So do not be like me, please. Do restart the service once you make those changes so you can enforce those changes to the daemon running. Okay, so pretty just restarted the service. Then going back to our Guacamole console, we can see Kali Linux is right there staring at us. When you click on it, boom, just like that. Now I can access this from anywhere I am in the world, anywhere I am in the world. You can pretty much see the IP address. So the fun part about this is I can do anything I can do. Anything I probably would be doing, I can even sudo into this. I can sudo su. Anything I do kind of like from my SSH session here, right, on my browser. So we can see that we've got that seamless SSH connection from Guacamole. To exit this, you just type exit. Sorry, it goes in the background. And we will have it in our home. So the next one we're going to do is we'll try and see if we can do RDP this time around, so we can use RDP to connect. I'm just going to go back here and do a quick verification in my security group for the Kali Linux, see if I can actually RDP into that stuff. Secure Kali over here. Only SSH connection is allowed for now. So let me see if I can edit this and probably add RDP. But while that is loading, I'm going to clear this and just get the RDP stuff prepared so I can be able to use it. I'm going to add a role and call this let me see, will this be RDP or VNC? I'll have to set it up VNC and check the ports to use to allow this to work. Okay, so just hang in there, please. So let's get this bad boy working. What I'm doing now is I'm installing XRDP so we can use RDP on the Kali Linux. It might take a while. It's going to download the stuff and all the libraries and get it installed. Then over here we're going to create a rule for RDP. I think SRDP works as well on 3389. Then I think we're pretty much fine with any IPv4 address. That should be good to go for us. We'll save this. We've just updated our secure Kali security group, which is where we find in our instance. If I go over to the instance just to show you what I'm trying to do here, we can see right here for Kali Linux, we've got the secure Kali security group on it. So let's go verify this thing. Still installing. We'll wait for it to finish. Then we'll just make a bit of modification and get things running for us so we can RDP from our Guacamole console. All right, so the installation is done. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to try and make some changes to the X11 xwrapper config file. So we'll just run a bit of some static command to do this. We'll do the sudo nano. We'll get into the etc, I think. Oh, sorry, not ano. Nano etc. In the etc folder, I think it's X11. Okay, great, X11. Then it's called X. Which of them should it be? XWrap. Great. Oh no. Sudo nano. What's wrong with you, man? Okay. So over here, allowed user, we will just allow anybody to connect. That's what we want to do here. Anybody. We write these changes. We exit this. Now at this level we're done. The next thing we want to do is just maybe restart a bit of some services so we can get this thing working for us and we don't get stuck like the last time. So sudo will update rcd and then x XRDP, that's it. Okay, XRDP, we will enable this service. Okay, that command ran without error. Then next we'll do the sudo systemctl. Then let's enable this XRDP salesman service, very important. Great, that is created. Then sudo, we just did the, I think, last one. That should be sudo service. We'll do for service XRDP. Then let's start it so we can have it running. Pretty cool. Now it's started. We don't want to make the same mistake we made the last time that we couldn't be able to access the stuff. Then finally we'll do one sudo, we'll just do this service VICE. This time around let's do the XRDP, but let's pass this to the salesman service. I'm not sure why isn't it there. Says SES man. I'm not sure. Okay, great, that ran without errors. So it means it's there. Everything looks pretty much cool at this point. So finally, we just have to jump into our Guacamole and configure RDP for this bad boy. So let's go over to our Guacamole. And we go back to settings. And this time around, connection. We're adding a new one. Okay, then we just call it Kali RDP. What a name. All right, so RDP would be the protocol here, not VNC. Then host name, the IP address of the Kali Linux. Let's go copy that, highlight this. Okay, if you can just highlight for me, thank you. Copy this over here, we'll paste this. The port is 3389, that's RDP ports, no encryption. The username Kali, since we specify anybody, we should be able to do that as Kali. We'll put in our password. We don't have a domain, so every other thing, but if it was Windows, we'll have to do domain. I think maybe when I'm connecting the Windows, I'll show you guys the stuff. I think all looks pretty cool. We will save this. Then we will go back to our home page. Then let's try Kali RDP and see if we can RDP into the Kali server and have ourselves smiling. Okay, it took a while because of my network connectivity issue, but after a bit of restarting on the server, the RDP finally came up. So in case you had struggle, all you need to do is restart the Kali server and restart the Guacamole server as well. You just might get that connection, but if you don't, leave a comment. I'll be glad to help you sort that out. So we can see we've got the Kali RDP. If I click on it, this is the Kali Linux from our browser. Now we can open Firefox, we can open Terminal, we can do everything within the browser without having a hassle. It's just seamless, pretty smooth stuff. We also have the, if we go back, we can see we still have the terminal. So if we want to work with Kali from the terminal, we can use the terminal session. I'm not sure why there's a delay. Okay, maybe because the browser session is running. But we've seen how both of them are working seamlessly without hassle. So I'm just going to exit this session, and then that will be all for this video. So pretty much smooth. We can access any of them from this base here. If I click on this, I can access this. If I click on this, it's still loading. It's pretty much going to load and we'll get the same access. So just to show you that stuff. Great, but we'll be working with this most of the time, except we want to use the terminal session. Thank you for sticking around. It's pretty long, like I told you, but I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, please like the content, subscribe to our channel, and leave the wonderful comments. Thank you for your time, and see you next recording. Bye-bye.